The audio is not clear. Is your internet connection proper? Dalt, Digger, can you hear me? Can you check your internet connection? All right. What about now? Can you hear me now? All right. So as I was saying, computer application is just software. The computer application is the same as software. But a computer is, we can say it is categorized into two parts or sections. We have the hardware part, and we have the software part. But I think these are things that you already know, but just for the matter of reminding ourselves. So it has two parts. It has one is the hardware, and the two is software. The hardware is the physical element that you can touch. That's the hardware, the keyboard, the screen, the hard disk. Then you're going to learn about all these things in the future within your course. But basically, the hardware are those physical components. Physical component. A computer. Right? Now, the hardware itself cannot work. The hardware itself cannot work, cannot give you the solutions that you want. If you want to type something, you can't just type on the hardware and you see something on the screen. Yeah. If you want to watch a video, you want to listen to music, you want to control a machine somewhere, maybe in a factory, using a computer, with just hardware, the physical parts, the hard disk, the RAM, the CPU, the screen, that one cannot happen. It will need something else we call a software. So the work of the software is just to instruct the hardware on how to carry out user tasks. So the computer comes with the computer itself. The computer itself comes with these two elements: the hardware part and the software part. So the software part is what we will be majoring in. That will be our main concern. Our main concern will be the software part. The major concern will be the software, and which you're saying that these are just instructions. These are just instructions to instruct the hardware on how to do some tasks. Now, these instructions are written by the instructions are written by programmer. I guess you have heard this term. If you're interested in IT, you have heard somebody called a programmer. So a programmer is somebody who writes instructions. These instructions, the instructions The instructions packaged together makes up a software. Now, how are instructions like? How are these instructions like? The instructions are just lines of sentences. These are just sentences. Near English, we call them near English. Instructions are just near English statements. Near English statements. And statements are just like the sentences I'm writing here. I'll be showing you an example soon. So they're just near English statements. They're not completely English, but if you look at it, you can be able to understand what is happening because it's almost like English sentences. So those instructions are written in English sentences, and they're written by somebody known as a programmer. And this programmer uses what we call programming. The programmer uses a programming language. This is a programming language to write those instructions, all right? So a software would require a programming language to be written on. So a programming language is a language that has been designed to be used by programmers to write software, to produce software, to make softwares. So there are different types of programming languages we have. I don't know whether you have heard of Java. We have PHP. We have HTML. We have CSS. We have JavaScript. We have JSON. We have VB.NET. Right. So these are languages. These are languages that are used by the programmer to write. These are languages that are used by the programmer to write instructions, and these instructions packaged together forms what we call a software. Right? So there are different types of programming languages. We have Java, we have PHP, we have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, JSON, VB.NET, and many more others, right? And many more programming languages. Now, these languages, they do the same thing. They're not that different from one another. It's just what we call syntax, and we're going to learn about programming languages later, maybe in the second semester. What differs in these programming languages is just syntax. You're going to learn what syntax is, and syntax is just how that language is formed. So, for example, you can say one thing in a language known as Swahili. You can say the word hello. Word hello. You see the word hello. I don't know that's not the correct spelling. Say hello. You can say the word hello in English language. Another one can also say hello in Swahili language. Another one can also say hello in French. Another one can say hello in Spanish. Right? But they are saying the same thing. They are always saying hello. Like in Swahili, we'll say jambo. Like that is greeting somebody. Like in French, we would say, I don't know, that's bonjour. Right? But you're saying the same thing. So similarly with our programming languages here, whichever language that you choose to use Java, another person chooses to use PHP to write the same software, they'll come up with the same results. So these programming languages only vary in terms of syntax. But you can use one language to write a given software, and another person can also write the same software using a different language. So programming languages are used by programmers to write instructions, and these instructions that are then packaged together form what we call a software. So form what is called a software. Now these instructions, when you're saying that they are near English statements, when they're packaged together, they form a software. They are sometimes called lines of codes. Lines of codes, right? So a given software, something like Office Word, Microsoft Office Word has millions. Yeah, you have millions of lines of codes. So, like for example, here I have like 10 sentences, 10 lines. Say, for example, this one was a software. These are 10 sentences, right? These are 10 sentences, 10 lines of code. Now, to make a very big software like Microsoft Office, you would require millions and millions of lines of code, right? Billions and billions of lines of code to make a very robust, a very big software like Microsoft Office or any other software that you use in your computer. It's made up of thousands or if not millions of codes. So those millions of codes and that are near English statement are what is packaged to form a software. So let's see an example of let me show you an example of a program. We're going to write a program and see it in action. And a software is also sometimes called a program. So a software, 3 names for a software. So the 3 names for a software. So a software can also be called an application. It can also be called a program. And that's where the word programmer or programming language come from. All right. And this is what we are saying are just instructions. Instructions are just lines of code written by the program. Instructions. Right. So we can see here software can also be known as applications or not programmer. It is a program. It is a program. Right. Program. So ukisema software, useme application, useme program, bado utakuwa unamaanisha the same thing. So let's see how these lines of code are written. But you're going to learn how to write software in the next few semesters coming. I'm going to pull up a notepad. And I want to write codes here. So I'll be using a language known as HTML. HTML. I hope you can see. Can you see my notepad here? Can you see my notepad? Can you type yes whether you can see my notepad? Okay. So right now I'm writing a program. And I'm writing lines of code. hope you're following what I'm doing here. So these are what we call lines of codes. These are what we call lines of codes. Yeah. I'm using a language known as HTML. A programming language known as HTML, and I have identified it here. It's one of the programming languages. HTML is here. I can also use Java, I can also use PHP to do the same thing. But now I've chosen to use HTML, and I'm going to save this work. I'm going to call it computer application. Apps. And then because I'm using HTML language, I'm going to say .html markup language. Then I'm going to save it at the desktop so that we can access it quickly. The desktop. And then I save it. Right. So these are how lines of code are written. Right. These are just sentences. And see sentence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now this is not how the software would appear on the screen when the user is using the software. Like for example, the software that we are using here called the big blue button. You cannot see the codes behind. Right? You cannot see the codes behind this software, but rest assured that there are so many lines of code like this. So the lines of code sit behind, and then what you can see on the screen is just the interface. Just the interface. So behind every software there are lines of code like this. You're going to see that when we run this, when we bring this on into the screen, you're not going to see these angle bracket H2, H3, H3, P, BR. These ones you're not going to see them. All right. So behind any software, there are lines of code like this. And we're going to learn how to write these codes in the near future, in the next semester or so. So any software that you have must have lines of codes, and these lines of code instruct the computer to do something. Now, we have said that softwares, these lines of code are near English statements. They are near English statements, not completely English, because now something like HTML is not complete. Something like body, you don't know what body does, but bodies are English word, right? Yes. Now, what does H2 stands for? H2 stands for heading 2. Heading 2. So there are various sizes of headings. You learned about heading somewhere in your high school. It's heading. So heading 2. If you see H3, that is heading 3. If you see H4, that is heading 4. So as we ascend, If you say H3, H3 is smaller than H2. If you say H4, H4 is smaller than H3, right? And you're going to see that. You're going to see that the unit title is going to become bigger than the computer application. So we have instructed the computer to put unit title here bigger than computer application. So we have said unit 2 to use we have said unit title to use H2 and computer application to use H3. So we are instructing the computer to do something. This wants to be smaller, this wants to be bigger. Then there's another instruction here called BR. BR stands for break. It stands for break, right? Break means that we don't continue. These are a sentence known as unit lecture, so should not start here. It should start in the new sentence. Okay, but here you notice that here at the top here, notice that unit title there's no BR, so you'll expect that here hapa tutakuwa na unit title alafu computer application itafuata hapa, itakuwa zimefuatana hivyo, lakini mahali kuna BR you're instructing the computer to break that line, we start on another line, right? Kwa hivyo computer applications are just instructions. You instruct the computer to do what you want as a programmer. So right now I'm the programmer. I'm the one who is writing instructions to instruct the computer to do something for me. Then there's P. Can you see P somewhere? This P stands for paragraph. So I'm telling the computer to create a paragraph with this content. And at the end, I'm ending with /p. But you'll learn about these angle brackets later because it's not a programming class. It's just an introduction to computer applications. So, yeah, that's how a software would look like behind the scenes. You know what behind the scenes means? Something that you cannot see. But in front is what we have. So in front, really sometimes it's called the front end. That's why you can see the interface. But behind the scenes, that's what we call the back end, right? That's where the codes exist. These lines of codes is what we call the software itself. All right. Yes. Wait a minute. Now, so the front end is what you can see, the user can see, and the back end is what where the codes are, where these codes will be. So tukirani program tutaona hizi mango brackets, H2, H3, P, BR, those ones will not see them. We only see our content here. So let's try and see that. We go to our desktop. This is our software now that we have already made. If you run it, you can see now. You can see now what I wrote in the back end there. It's coming up, right? So you can see H2, this H2 is bigger than H1 and H3. H2 is bigger than H3. Then the paragraph is a paragraph. So you can see the front end does not have the language itself. It only gives us the content that we want. So we cannot see HTML, we cannot see H2. So whatever you're on website, know that behind that website there are codes like this. All right, there are these codes. So that's how a software works, and that's how it's designed. So just a recap, you can see what we've just said, that a software is made of near English statements, and those lines of codes can be very many. Actually, here I just have a few, like 7 lines, but they can go all the way down huku chini kabisa, with thousands and thousands of codes. And by the way, by the time you're finishing your course, you're going to write a software, you're going to make a software, and you realize that software will be very many lines of codes. So after your 3 years, you'll be able to give us a software before we let you go with a certificate. So before we give you a certificate, you must write a software to prove that you have learned something. You must write a computer application. So you can see those lines of codes have been able to produce something like this, right? Yeah, lines of codes are just near English are written, and it also depends on the grammar language that you're using. Learning language will have what we call syntax. Kama HTML, syntax yake is the syntax. Syntax is the way to do things. So syntax is just way to correctly write lines of code in a programming language. So any language has its own syntax. So HTML, kuandika HTML unatumianga angle brackets, alafu unaweka these instructions, like this instruction BR is a break, H2 is heading 2, H3 is heading 3, P is paragraph. Okay, so hiyo ndio syntax, yeah? Syntax HTML. Kwa hivyo up to that, I hope you have understood what is an application, how that application is designed, and who designs those software, and where do they design those softwares from. All right. Yes. So let me see whether you have gotten something so far. Let me see whether you've gotten something so far by typing something on the comment section. I'm going to write a few questions here. Question 1, what is an application? Who designs a program? What do we use to design a program? So let me see you answer those 3 questions on the comment section. Just type them somewhere and then paste it on the comment section. We are just 2 of us. Yeah, I'm only having 2 students, so that this one should be very fast. So can you answer that in the next 2 minutes? So can you answer these the three questions? You can answer those questions somewhere and then copy and paste it on the comment section. I see. Answer three of them. Yes. Yes. Liga, we are waiting for you. Yes, that is good. I can see now we are moving together. Now, the other thing we want to see is the classifications of softwares. Majorly we have two types of softwares. We have two types of softwares. We have two types of softwares. Number one, we have system software. And number two, we have application software. So these ones, let me draw a diagram here. So we have two types of software. We have system software and we have application software. So a system software, and we have what we call application software. We also have somebody called the user. User. But now this is what happens. It's the other way around. Then at the last thing, we should have our computer. So I'm trying to show you how these softwares work. Right. So this is how the user would interact with the. This is how the user would interact. This is how the user would interact with the computer. So the computer, we have said, has two parts. It has software and it has hardware. So the computer here is the hardware. This is the hardware, right? And then in between the user as yourself, like for example, the computer you're using, you are the user. Unatumia your computer, tunakuita user. Kwa hivyo between the user and the computer, there are two types of softwares. There are two types of softwares that sit in between the user and the hardware of the computer itself. So for you to be able to interact, with the computer hardware, you must have these softwares. You must have these types of software. That's why, for example, kama computer yako iko na haina Word, haina Microsoft Office Word, huwezi type anything. Yeah? Kwa hivyo lazima unahitaji hizi software ndio uweze kufanya kitu fulani. Kama unataka kuedit picha, huwezi edit picha na Photoshop na Microsoft Office, lazima utatafuta computer application inaitwa Photoshop. Alright? Kwa hivyo you need softwares to be able to interact with the hardware so that it can give you results that you desire. But there is an arrangement in which these softwares work. You don't just work with the softwares just like that. There's an order. Number one, there's what we call system softwares. There's what we call system softwares. System software is easy. So the work of the system software is to interact with the hardware, to make it easy for the user to interact with the hardware, right? So system softwares directly interact with the hardware, instructing the hardware to do something, right? To produce results, to produce graphics, to print something, to play a music file, a music video. Yeah, how the hardware be able to know how to produce sound, how to produce video? It would require something we call system software. And without, actually, the very first thing that you need to put in your computer is a system software. Without a system software, you will not be able to work on a computer. So this is a very important type of software in a computer. System software, its purpose, its work is to interact with the system. That's why it's called a system software, to interact directly with the hardware. Examples of system softwares, you have heard people talking about in IT, talking about OS. And I think you're doing a unit called OS. OS is just an operating system. Kazi ya hii software ni kuongelesha hardware. Hizo hardware zijue wenye zitaperform kazi. And we have different types of hardware. We have the RAM, we have the hard disk, we have the processor, we have the screen itself, we have the mouse, we have the keyboard. How do those hardware interact together so that they can give the user the result that they want? They will need a system software. One of the example of system software is an operating system. We also have utility software. So utility software part of it's not part of a system software. So the work of an operating system is just to provide an interaction between the hardware and the user, that the user now can be able to do other things, without worrying how the hardware is going to work on what we want that hardware to do for him. So the operating system takes up that job. So examples of operating systems, I believe most of you are using Windows. You have Windows 7, Windows. Actually, there was Windows 8, but it was not that effective. Then we have Windows 10. Na zingine zilikuwa huko nyuma inaitwa akina XP. Nowadays they are obsolete. Even Windows 7 is obsolete. Now what we have in the market is Windows 10. So kama computer yako haina operating system, kama haina system software, haitawaka, right? So ukienda kwa duka utanunua kompyuta yenye iko na kitu tunaitaga DOS, this operating system. It doesn't have an operating system. So what you do, the very first thing once you buy a computer, what you do, you have to buy an operating system. An example of an operating system, we have Windows. The others called Linux. Kama unatumia mashine inaitwa Apple, unaweza tumia Mac OS, Mac operating system, right? So the very first thing that when you buy a computer, you must install a system software. Without it, huwezi tumia Word, huwezi tumia Photoshop, huwezi enda kwa website, huwezi enda kwa Mozilla Firefox, uende kwa internet, you cannot be able to do that. So this is the paramount software. This is a paramount software that you have to. This is a paramount software that you first of all must install in a computer to be able to use your device. Right? Then the other one is the application software. And the one that we have to look at is the application software. So application software, these ones are meant to give solutions to the user, and these solutions are unique. So they're meant to give solutions to user tasks Yes, and these tasks we are saying they are unique tasks. These tasks we are saying they are unique tasks, all right? So tayari sasa umesha install operating system hapa. Ukisha install operating system hapa, sasa unaweza install application software. Application software kazi yake ni kumpatia solutions to the task that you want. What are these unique tasks? What are these unique tasks? Like for example, if you want to type a letter, typing a letter is different from designing a photo, and it's uh, different from editing. Different from editing is different from editing, say, a video, right? It's different. So these tasks are unique. So you cannot use one software to do all of them, all right? So there are softwares for every unique task that a user wants. So like, for example, typing a letter, you would have something like MS Word, MS Office Word. That one will help you type a letter. Designing a photo, you use very commonly known software known as Photoshop to edit your photo. Then editing your video, you would use another different software for editing your video, right? Video editing software, there are very many outside there, like Filmloma. I don't know that that's the correct spelling. You can see there are different softwares for each individual task that is unique from the other. All right. So these types of softwares are what we call application software. They are meant to give solutions to user tasks. Kwa hivyo software yako utainstall software moja useme umemaliza kazi, utainstall operating system useme sasa utakuwa unafanya kila kitu na hiyo kompyuta. Hapana, lazima utatafuta software kwa every task that you want to do. Kama unataka kuwa unafanya kazi ya graphic design, utafuta software inaitwa Photoshop. Kama unataka kuwa una edit videos, tafuta another software for editing videos because Photoshop cannot do that, right? Kwa hivyo in between the user and the computer, there are two types of software. We have system software and we have system software and we have computer application software, right? And these two must be installed in the computer for it to work, right? And I believe that you're doing a unit known as operating system. Let me see. Are you doing a unit called operating system? Can you type yes here? Or no? Okay. So from that unit, you'll be able to understand more about what an operating system is. Yeah, it's the first software that you need to install in a software because it has many functions. Many functions, but majorly there are four. You'll be able to identify the four functions of an operating system. So I'm not going to tell you in this unit. You're going to learn it on the other unit called operating system. So kwa hivyo operating system ndio ya kwanza kuweka kwa computer, ambayo example ni Windows, ina Linux, akina Mac OS, depending on the computer that you are using. Na ukinunua computer mara ya kwanza ikuangi na operating system, inakuanga na kitu inaitwa BOS, gives you a black screen. So lazima ununue Windows ndio uweke ama Linux. Ukishaweka hiyo utakuja sasa utaweza kuinstall hizi zingine zinaitangwa application softwares. Now you only install Windows once ama Linux once, but application softwares you can install them and install as many application programs as your computer can handle, because saa zingine hata computer inaweza jaa. Hivyo ina depend na ile kazi unafanya. Kama unafanya kazi ya Photoshop, unatafuta software ya Photoshop. Yes, the other thing is I guess we have done what I wanted to cover today. So the final thing that I would want you to do, there is an assignment. So there's an assignment there that I have attached, or I have not already attached. I'm going to attach it. So do that assignment and return it before the next lesson on Friday. That assignment should be done. The other thing that there are notes. Kuna notes hapo. Kuna notes utaona hapo kwa kuna notes, hizi notes hizi ndio notes hizi uta download alafu usome. Okay, hata assignment naona nimeweka hapa. Hizi assignment ufanye alafu return before the other lesson on Friday. Okay. The final thing I want us to look at is the types of software that you're going to be looking at. So these types of softwares are going to give us a general view, a general feel of how softwares work, how softwares operate. So which are these software that we'll be looking at? We'll be looking at MS Office package. Labda mmefanya hizi, I think labda high school mlifanya hizi, tutapitia tu, lakini maybe there are some of the things that you don't know. To advance your skills in MS Office. MS Office inakuwa na package mingi, so hizi package zina represent the real world softwares outside there. So once you're able to use all of them, you'll be able to use other softwares easily. You'll be able to adapt to other softwares easily. So MS Office inakuanga na Word, inakuanga na Excel, inakuanga na PowerPoint, inakuanga na Access na PowerPoint, inakuanga na Outlook. Right? So this one is for text, this one is for calculation, statistics, this one is for database, this one is for presentation, this one is for email. Yeah. So we'll be looking at that, at these packages for this semester. This is actually a very easy unit, and you should be able to pass. You should be able to get an A in this unit. Now, I'd like to end it at that.